I'm Indian.
Oh, you're
I'm
Indian?
native Indian. I have Creole and Chata Indian in me, so therefore I'm not black.
Oh, so then, so you just finessed me.
No, I didn't. My color is black though, right?
Dominicans be like, I'm not black. Meanwhile, the picture of their abuelita in the living room. And before, you know, the Dominicans get into my comments mad, we know that you think that black, the race, equals being African-American, which is incorrect. And think of this. Black is a race, being Dominican is a nationality. You can say that black equals African-American all you want, but that's like saying Asian equals just Chinese or something. No, Asian crosses many countries, just like black crosses many countries, including yours. Especially if your abuelita look like this, okay? It's in you. And honestly, Dominicans saying that they're not black wouldn't be a problem if they didn't say it with such like, ew, I'm not black. Like, it's usually that type of response because they think they're a little bit better, you know, because there might be a little fair skin or their hair might not be as coarse. But at the end of the day, you black. Dominicano es tu nacionalidad, no tu raza. And before y'all get in my comments, yes, we know that there are white Dominicans, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
I got racially profiled, and when I almost got shot by a cop, he did not ask me, are you Dominican? He did not ask me, what is your race? He looked at me and assumed I was a black woman in America. So I want you to look at yourself right now in the mirror and come to your fucking senses. Because nobody is going to sit here and ask you, oh, what are you? Before they pull the trigger. No one is going to ask you, what is your nationality before they pull that trigger. Dominicans are black. And instead of running away from our blackness at a time like this, we need to embrace that shit. Because that is the only thing that's going to get us through these times.
We probably need to be a bit more culturally aware. And stop trying to sort of unite with people of other parts of the diaspora, because they don't care about any of this, none of this like black struggle stuff. They don't want anything to do with it. And to be honest, why should they? Because they didn't go through any of the stuff that we went through here in America. You know, these people came over here once all of that stuff was already over. All of the fighting and all of the struggle, civil rights stuff that we went through, that stuff had already came and gone by the time most of these people came over here. Their experiences are different. They didn't go through the same struggles that we went through. You know, they came over here when everything was already, you know, everything was already peachy keen and sweet. You know, they came over here when all of the hard stuff was already done. So we can't really expect them to have the same to have the same view that we have. So there's really no reason to try to pull them into some sort of a struggle that we feel like we have or that we have had over the past several decades. There's no reason to pull them in when they're not from here. You know, they're a completely different culture, different heritage. They have different practices. They just see the world differently than we do because they don't have the same experience that we have. So it really doesn't make sense for us to try to group them in and try to sort of unite the diaspora. You know, it's like a fight the power kind of thing. Like, they don't want to be a part of it, and they don't really need to be a part of it.
To do with Africa, my friend, just like we do. I don't have anything to do with Africa. Therefore, I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm Dominican.
You thought you did something there? Hey Google, how did plantains get to Dominican Republic?
On the website savoryonline.com, they say, plantains were brought to the island from Africa and were quickly accepted as
And before the Dominicans start, yes, I'm half Dominican. And while I'm also fucking tired of the I know black, I'm Dominican, unprovoked joke, I think it's very disingenuous to sit here on Anthony Santos' internet and front like there's no credence to why this is still a relevant joke. I think it's about time that we as a people sit down and have a constructive, critical conversation about the underlying anti-blackness that joke is highlighting in Dominicans and in Dominican culture. But first, let's address some like wild untruths in this man's video.
If all of your family members are white and you have like one great uncle who is black, you'll subscribe as black.
Tell me you don't know anything about the one drop rule without telling me you don't know anything about the one drop rule. Sir, that is not how the one drop rule works. And also in the United States in 2022, we no longer subscribe to the one drop rule at all. In the United States, race is about your phenotypic presentation. And actually, race in general, all over the world, is about your phenotypic presentation, even in Dominican Republic. Because whiteness as a construct globally is exclusive. Anybody who doesn't look white is not white. But anyone who looks even a little bit black is black. In the US, and actually, still in Dominican Republic, low key.
Very mixed since the inception of the country. Unlike your country, we don't see things as black or white as race. We see things as a national identity.
True.
We don't care about race.
Dominican Republic was not mixed since its inception. And the US and the Dominican Republic, their history mirror each other. European colonization, mass genocide of indigenous peoples, and the transatlantic slave trade. I agree that Dominicans have a national identity that is not specific to racial identification. But Dominicans absolutely care about race, and Dominicans do see color and see race. They have several racial classifications, even though there's no racial identity. Negro, moreno, jabao, trigueño, indio, blanco, chino. We all describe people as their race, even though there's no strong identification with these races.
So, today, I want us to talk about a history of the African people in the Caribbean. The Caribbean entails many countries in Africa of African descent. Like Jamaica, we have Cuba, we have the islands of Sao Tome, we have Dominican Republic, we have such countries over there with a lot of Africans over there, you know. Puerto Rico is somewhere in Central America. There is where we have Puerto Rico, but the vast majority of Puerto Ricans are African people, people of African descent. However, I have an issue with the people of Dominican Republic. The people of Dominican Republic don't want to be associated with being African. In fact, they say, we don't want you to call us black. It's so bad. It's so bad that somebody with an African skin, somebody that is a product of slavery, somebody that is a product of the transatlantic slave trade, does not acknowledge the struggles of their ancestors. They don't acknowledge this. They say, we don't want you to call us Africans. We don't want to be called blacks. So I don't know how they want to call themselves, because Spain had a very, very huge influence in Central America and Southern America, the Spanish and the Portuguese. So you'll find these people, they speak a variant of Portuguese, and they also speak a variant of Spanish. This is what they speak. However, everyone is making complaints. The Puerto Ricans are yelling everywhere. They don't want to be called Africans. Okay, if you don't want to be called Africans, choose your style. But why do you have a black skin? Why do you have a black skin? A black skin is a person who has a decency of Africa. So without further ado, let's continue watching this video and get to understand why are these people calling themselves, why are these people not wanting to call themselves Africans? And after that, I'll be giving you a brief history of the Dominican Republic and why I stand on the point that they are Africans in denial. So let's dive in and continue watching. I'll give you my thoughts towards the end of the video, where we will have a critical analysis.
I know black, I know black, I know black. Impossible, I know black. I'm Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican, I know black. Be looking just like me. Be having the same hair. I be touching it like, it's not the same, it's not the same. It's not the same, papi. It's not the same. They try to salsa that shit off. I be like, no, it's not the same. I know black. Negro, nunca, nunca. I know no, nunca. I know black. I'm like, no, you black. No. I know black. Dominica. I go, I know, but you're black. No, papi. I know black.
A lot of black people in the Dominican Republic say things like, yo no soy negro, soy dominicano. Why are black people in the Dominican Republic trying so hard not to be black and or acknowledge their African ancestry? And rather than saying, yes, I'm black, I'm African descent, they'll say, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. And sure, technically, because they speak Spanish, they are Hispanic, sure. But speaking speaking the language of the Spaniards that took away everything you are, your culture, your ethnic identity, and your language, and then replace it with theirs. That doesn't make you them. But in this case, African-descending people in the Dominican Republic are denying the fact that they descend from somewhere in Africa, more than likely Nigeria, and completely denying the descent and saying, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. There is such a shame in being black. And what I've come to understand is that when I was a little kid, every single time that I turned on the TV and they showed anything in regards to Africa, it would show all the hungry little kids with the little bubble stomachs digging in the trash, and all types of poverty, the most degrading and inferior conditions that people can be depicted as is all I ever saw anytime something about Africa was depicted on television. There was a rapper who did an interview and said, I'm so thankful for slavery, because if not for Europeans going over to Africa and bringing us to America, I'd still be an African booty scratcher right now. So you see, that is very sad, and obviously so much internal hatred. But the real question is it their fault? The macro media pushes this narrative and agenda that the standard of beauty is white, and everything about the African, what we were taught in American TV, is inferior, and everything that was been taught about the white folk is superior, elegance, royalty, right? Then you realize that dark skin and or black is associated with poverty and inferiority. So then when Dominicans say, I'm not black, it's like saying, no, I'm not poor, I'm not inferior, I'm Hispanic, I'm superior. This is internalized racism, absolutely. But if you do some research, you realize it makes sense why we're like this, why we don't want to associate ourselves with what we've been indoctrinated to believe is poor, inferior, and everything negative. We want to associate ourselves with everything that is beautiful, superior, and class.
Yo, TikTok, it's your boy, Pretty D. I got a question for y'all today. I need y'all help. What am I, black or am I Dominican? Because according to TikTok, my ass is black. But according to my friends and family, I'm Dominican. So I'm fucking confused. I identify as being Dominican. You know what I'm saying? That's what I am. That's all I've known. My parents are Dominican. I was born in Brooklyn. However, my family, all my upbringings, my language, we all speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? We eat Dominican food. We listen to Dominican music. We dance that shit. Our culture is all the same. You know what I mean? What is it about who I am, who I identify? Why does that bother African Americans so much to the point where they want to make sure that I understand that I'm black? I mean, anyone who's from Dominican Republic or the Caribbeans for that matter, they're all of mixed races. So it's not like we're not saying that we're not black. We're not saying that at all. Matter of fact, we are black, more blackly black than fucking black. But that's not the only race that defines us. Again, mixed. Black. You want me to say that I'm black? That means I'm not the others? Oh, you black nigga? Yes, the fuck I am. Again, when most Dominicans say that they're not black, what they're saying is that they're not African American black. Alright? We're Dominican black. Or part black Dominican. However the fuck you want to say it. In Dominican Republic, nobody gives a fuck about the race. That shit is only an American thing. So it seems to us that you guys want us to claim black so fucking bad. I don't know why. Another
natural curly hair.
Not trying to brag. Most Dominicans, if not all, have hair like this. Our skins, I mean, I know that not everyone is light and dark. There's all types of shadows, but our skin, like if I stand next to an African American, I will look clearly a little lighter than him. Why? Because I'm fucking mixed. I don't understand why people don't understand that, especially y'all on TikTok. Listen, stop arguing with these fools. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But don't think that we're racist, and don't think that we just don't want to be black and we want to only claim our other races, because at the end of the day, that's just not true. We're just not African Americans. Let us be. Everybody else gets to be. You got fucking people, boys that want to be girls, girls that want to be boys. No one says shit. If a Dominican claims that he's a fucking Dominican, boom, it's an issue with everyone. Man, get the fuck out of here.
So I'm thinking that this issue of anti-blackness is something that is a segment. It has its roots from white supremacy, because the more you're close to white, people think you are more human when you're close to white. The standards of beauty that has been placed by the white supremacist is that you need to look like us in order for you to meet the standards of beauty. You know, they're taking away the whole equation of God. God says, let's make man in our own image and likeness. And you know, what God does is he goes to the soil. He goes to the earth. He makes man from the earth, from the soil, from everything. He makes man from all that. Dust. What's the color of dust even where you come from? The color of dust is the color of browns and copper. The color of dust is the color that you're watching right now on the screen. That's the color of dust. I'm very close to the dust, the original human being, the dust, that any other person which is not having my color is. I don't know why people are chasing white. Why are you chasing white? Why? Why are you chasing looking like somebody who does not appreciate you? You know, we are here on this, we are having this dark skin as an adaptation to survive, you know, an adaptation to survive. God had to make us this way to have this skin. I don't believe in evolution. I believe God created us this way, and he knows why he placed the races. He knows why he made people the way they are. If you go in Europe, those people experience tremendous winter. They rarely see the sun in some months, but we who feel the sun, we don't want to be called black. Why is that? I think it's not a problem of the Dominican Republic. It's a problem of the black people who are thinking that if they're close to the white person, they are more beautiful, they are more handsome. You know, today we judge someone we say somebody is more intelligent if they can speak better English, then they can speak better mother tongue, better African mother tongue. You walk with my hat, this hat, there outside. People will laugh at you. People have said, this hat, you only walk with it when you're going to the safari, because it's purely African. But if it's another hat which has a Nike, if it had a Nike, it's okay, it's the vibe. Nike is a company of the West, but we are okay with it. I just don't know what's wrong with us humans sometimes. You know, sometimes we can be just full of ourselves and fool ourselves. It's a white supremacist agenda. I'm telling you, sisters. Those people from the Dominican Republic, you have this same hair as Evans over here. You have this same skin as Evans over here. You have the same skull as Evans over here. I know, I understand the pressure of somebody wanting to look white or brown. The society has placed that upon you, but it's a false narrative. It's a nominal cultural narrative that you have to go against. You know, when I was doing my undergraduate, I did some psychology, some philosophy. There is this guy called René Descartes. René Descartes is the father of doubt. You know, when somebody is called the father of something, there's a reason why they're called that. It's as if they do it in the overdose, you know. They really do too much of it, you know. Now, René Descartes calls into doubt every belief that you have. He calls into doubt every belief that you have. Start asking yourself, I believe in this. Is this true? Or is this and that? Do I have evidence to support this? This man was so doubtful that he reached a point where he was doubting himself if he exists. He asked a question. Am I a thinking thing, or am I a thing that thinks? Are you a thinking thing, or are you a thing that thinks? If you can be able to answer that question, ask yourself, if the good Almighty God, the Lord is not the evil genius. No. Actually, René brings the argument of the evil genius. He says, what if 1 + 1 was not 2? What if 1 + 1 was 10? And there is some evil genius who has the powerful powers of making everyone on the whole world, generations after generations, to believe 1 + 1 is 2. God is not an evil genius. Humans, we are the evil geniuses. We are the evil. Humans, we are evil. And we can make somebody hate themselves. We can take somebody to the ropes because we don't believe in ourselves. The same problems with Africans. Oh, Africans. Oh, Africans. Myself included. I am no exception. I am no exception. But at least I'm trying to share with you some truths here. I'm trying to share with you that you can be able to appreciate who you are. Dominican Republic, whatever you are, it's all BS. It's all BS. Come on, appreciate your African ancestry. And here is why. So, let's dive into the history of the Dominican Republic, the pre-colonial era, before colonization, before the Spanish and the Portuguese invaded the Dominican Republic. Here we go. The island of Hispaniola, which comprises present-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic, was inhabited by the Taino people before the arrival of European colonizers. The Taino culture was rich and diverse, characterized by agriculture, craftsmanship, and spiritual beliefs. Now, I told you that the Spanish and the Portuguese are the ones who colonized Central and South America. You'll find many people in those countries don't speak English. They speak either a variant of Spanish or a variant of Portuguese. Now, the Spanish colonization of Dominican Republic. In 1492, Christopher Columbus landed on Hispaniola during his first voyage to the Americas, initiating European colonization. The Spanish established Santo Domingo, the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the America, at 1496. The island became a crucial hub for Spanish colonial activities in the world, in the New World. It was the New World back then because they discovered something new. Now my question is, how do you discover something that people already live there? Are those people blind or are they floating through air? I wonder if a European finds something, it's called a discovery. What if an African left Africa and went to Europe? Can you say the African discovered the Europe? You can't say that, right? So the island, which is called the Hispaniola Islands, became a crucial hub for Spanish colonial activities in the New World, including the transatlantic slave trade. No need to go into transatlantic slave trade right now. So the African influence in Dominican Republic, how has it affected the people who are living there presently? You know, the Spanish brought African slaves to Hispaniola to work on sugarcane plantation and in other industries. This African presence significantly influenced Dominican culture, language, music, and cuisine. Despite attempts to erase or marginalize African heritage, it remains an integral part of Dominican identity. Now, the independence and political turmoil of Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic gained independence from Spain in 1921, but faced political instability and foreign intervention through the 19th and the early 20th century. The country was occupied by the United States from 1916 to 1924, further shaping its political landscape. Now we have what we call the Trujillo era. You know, in Spanish you don't have J, we have H. So this one will be called Trujillo era. The mid-20th century was the rise of Rafael Trujillo, a dictator who ruled the Dominican Republic with an iron fist from 1930 until his assassination in 1961. Trujillo regime was marked by authoritarianism, human rights abuses, and a cult of personality. Now, contemporary Dominican Republic, the one we have today. Since Trujillo's downfall, the Dominican Republic has experienced periods of democracy, economic growth, and social progress, alongside challenges such as political corruption, yes, inequality, and environmental degradation. The country's rich culture heritage, including its African roots, continue to shape its identity and society. The African, they love all the vibes of African, but they don't want to be called African. If I don't like you, I won't like what you give me. People tend to love what you give them, but they don't like you. If you don't like me, don't like what I give you. You know why I'm saying that? Africans loved the sugar cane. Africans loved the sugar. They loved the salt, but they didn't love the colonizer. And you would take both. You would not take single. You take the colonizer, you take the sugar cane. You take the sugar cane, you take the colonizer. And you take the colonizer, you betray your people. That is how the chain goes. It's never any other way, no. So, embracing African heritage. Yes. The Dominican Republic African heritage is a vital part of its cultural tapestry and should be celebrated and appreciated along its European and indigenous influences. Embracing African heritage fosters inclusivity, diversity, and a deeper understanding of the nation's complex history. Rather than promoting one single identity over another, it is essential to recognize the beauty and value of cultural diversity and to promote equality and respect for all individuals, regardless of their racial or ethnic background. To conclude this, the history of the Dominican Republic is a history of resilience, cultural fusion, to bring together, and the ongoing struggle for social justice and equality. Embracing the nation's African heritage is not about elevating one's racial identity over another, but rather acknowledging and honoring the contribution of all people to the rich tapestry of Dominican culture and society.